What's going on, everyone? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and this is episode 11 of the Beans and Business podcast. And I'm here with Robbie Aggarwal from Norcini, which is a butchery and deli concept in Niagara Falls
Niagara
right
Falls,
now.
Portage Road.
Beautiful. So, Robbie, thank you so much for taking the time. First things first, you are the same age, correct?
24.
Oh, you're younger than me. Okay.
I got a late birthday.
When's your birthday?
November, coming up.
But you're in 96.
96.
Okay, I'm in 95, so 1 year,
Okay.
because I'm December. That's why I was like, okay,
Okay.
beautiful. So, Robbie, you're kind of doing cured meats, things like that, right?
Yep.
Fresh stuff too, I know. But how did you get into this? Because I think a lot of people would think of this as like kind of an old world thing, right? Like you're making meats again from scratch
Yep.
and everything. So tell me a little bit about the origin story. Give me the comic book origin story.
Yeah, the backstory is I was always into it as a kid. I always loved it. I always loved the super sauce, the sausage, the heritage, and the value of making things from scratch. It wasn't like a money thing. It was just I found so much value in house product, homemade product. So when I was little, I was kind of involved, and then, you don't make it for a while and this and that. And then as I grew up, I was into cooking. I got into the industry, and I wanted to bring it back. Nobody in my family continued to do it. I wanted to bring it back. So I started. I got some uncles to show me how they did it. But, the classic Italian, yeah, we do this much of this with the hand. Like, there was no science. There was no science behind it. So I had a little introduction there, then on my own, trial and error. And I did it as a hobby. I love to eat it. I love to share it. I love to cut it up. And then I started making bigger batches. And I started like, you know what? Like, I'm going to start selling some. And I did one batch, sold out like crazy. I was like, you know what? This could combine two passions, business and meat.
So there you go. So that was the general origin story. So do you remember, like, was it your grandparents that were doing it when you were a kid? Was it grandparents? Was it uncles again? Or
Yeah. So my one brand, Benamino Meats, is my grandfather.
okay.
So we have a website. The whole story's on there. But he died when we were young. He passed away in 2001. But I remember him always being a person of value. Huge garden, making the wine, making the sausage. I once watched him drag like a baby goat or deer or lamb,
Lamb,
right?
yeah.
Like full sweater vest, the no pants, dragging the lamb downstairs and butchering it right there. Like, that's old school. That's crazy. And that was we were so young when I saw that. But he was super into that. And when he passed, like, it kind of stopped.
And that stuff, that obviously affected you, right? Like, as far as kind of being connected with your food again. Because we do live in a time where we're so disconnected from it, right?
100%.
And so I think what you're doing is important. Obviously, there's a market for it. So as far as like the business interest, do you remember that being cultivated when you were young or anything like that? Or did that come later on?
Well, we grew up in a family business. So my parents had a gift shop in Clifton Hill, a couple of shops throughout the years. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're still rolling with the shop, but we grew up in that business. Like, I was like 5, 6, 7, like pricing tags, like putting shirts out, doing cash, watching my parents, like watching tourists, like asking for a discount, and how like my parents would then correspond to that. So I grew up in what would be a struggling family business. And that was probably the best lesson taught.
Best thing for you. Yeah. Okay. So you start selling the meats. I remember doing like garage deals, buying your meat. So then how do we go from that to now where you have this brick and mortar concept? Walk me through that that phase.
That's funny. A lot of people did come to the garage to buy some meat. Yeah. Well, that was a passion, and slowly, that grew and expanded to like another fridge. And again, just doing it from the house, doing it from a little facility, nothing regulated at all. But again, it's just friends and family.
Yeah.
So at that time, we're not selling to any businesses. So it's all safe. From there, I took some time off. I went back to school, went to Queens, wanted to get my education done with, because I knew at one point I wanted to like teach philosophy, teach cooking theory.
Wait, you wanted to teach philosophy?
Philosophy in culinary.
Okay.
Culinary philosophy.
Okay. Yeah. I was
right.
For a
Yeah.
second, Nietzsche and okay.
So, I mean, I was in the industry. I worked in restaurants. I did some traveling and competing. I came back, got all that done. I was like, you know what? Now's the time to start. So I spent time looking for a building, looking for a business. I had a deal, fell through, wasted a long time. COVID happened. There was so much mess, but nothing happens easy. Nothing good rewarding. It comes like that overnight. So, this opportunity came up where that building was available, and I jumped in, and I was already planning this for years. I knew one day I was gonna have a butcher shop. Aside from Benamino, the cured product, I knew I wanted to do something with meats, with sandwich, with deli, because I understood the business. I felt like not having any experience in that industry, I felt like I could open up a shop, know what to do in terms of a deli, put out house products, sauces, marmalades, like just anything that we do in house. I can cook, we can do it. So I understood that part of the business. And when that opportunity came up, I struck, and I had equipment saved up for years. I was like buying here and there. I had ideas. I had Norcini already written down from years ago when I read the story of the legend of the Norcini.
Can you give us a Coles Note version of that just for fun?
Yeah. So the Norcini basically was a term to describe a freelance butcher, where in Old Town Europe, a pair of butchers would go town to town knocking on houses if they could butcher the family's livestock. Because back then, everybody had livestock, but they didn't necessarily know how to butcher it, want to butcher it.
Oh,
right? So,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So a butcher and a salami maker or a salumeria would go knocking. They get hired. They'd butcher the animal. One would butcher, one would make sausage. And they'd go knocking on doors.
That's awesome, man.
And they were called the Norcini.
That's the greatest.
Yeah.
I didn't realize your name meant that. That makes it 10x cooler. That's sick, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's awesome. So you start off, you're doing the garage meats, you're selling your meat, you have a passion for this. You go to culinary school. You said you competed. What kind of contests did you enter? Where did you compete?
Yeah. So it was through Niagara College. At the time, I was first year. And, it was right time at the right place. I entered a competition. And years before that, Niagara College won the rights for the junior Olympic Canadian culinary team.
Okay.
So I was first year. I entered a culinary competition just throughout in the school, like a friendly competition. And they were scouting for people. I entered. I did well. And I got scouted for that team. And I did some probation period and then basically trained for a year and a half and competed in Florida, in Germany, for Canada.
That's awesome. So like what kind of stuff, like what does that look like? What kind of stuff did you make?
Crazy stuff, like very intricate, hours and hours of prep, like very detailed, like Michelin star food.
Okay. That's crazy. Do you remember like a specific dish that you put out that was like the wildest? Just to give the people a Coles Notes.
No, there's so many terms, and there's so many dishes, so many terms, so many moves. It's so hard to explain.
That's awesome, man. That's super cool. Well, that's awesome. And do you think that obviously all those experiences helped you make what you're doing now?
100%, because what that did was it made me uncomfortable. It put so much pressure on me to perform and do well and be better that you move up. Like when you're surrounded with a room of people and you have no experience, you're coming from high school, you know nothing, you are nothing, you don't know how to do anything, and you're surrounded by these people that you look up to so highly, and they expect so much of you, and you don't perform. And like, they're looking at you and like so disappointed, like that makes you upgrade.
That's good, man. Yeah, no, exactly. Trial through fire, right? Steel sharpens steel.
So much detail, like professionalism and detail is what that taught me and put me in a good spot for like connections and awareness. That was such a good opportunity for me. And thanks to like Niagara College and all those mentors and people that sacrifice their personal time to like help us as a team, but me personally to like become better.
Grow. That's awesome, man. Okay, so Norcini, you open up in May.
We opened up in May.
Walk me through the first 2 weeks, the wildness.
Insane. So let's see. We got the building in March. So we did 2 months of reno. And with that, before we even got the building, I spent 2 months. Like once we closed the deal, we had 2 months before we actually closed. Like once we knew we had the building, we had 2 months before we actually got in there first day. So I spent 2 months, 10 hours a day, every logistics, equipment, suppliers, figuring out everything. So day one, we had a full plan for the next 2 months before we opened. Teamed up with the butcher, someone that I knew from the college, respected, very good at his craft. So we go in there, we reno, we do that, logistics, use equipment, our own renovation, security, cameras, paint, everything, full gut on the retail.
Yeah.
So we open up, soft opening on the 10th, full opening on the 11th of May, and we started with 4 of us, 4 guys. Within 2 weeks, we're at 15 guys.
And what kind of products are you making at this time? If someone comes in, what can I expect?
Yeah, so it was full animal butchery. We're bringing all the full cow, lamb, pig, chicken, and sustainable stuff, all antibiotic-free, hormone-free, full animal butchery again. Dry-aged beef, house sausages, house sauces, cheeses, featuring Benamino products as well, and a full deli. And we're doing sandwiches, we're doing hot food, we're doing frozen foods.
So you're doing there's some grab and go stuff as well. So what's your best seller? If someone's watching this and they're like, holy shit, I need to check this place out, what would you recommend?
Dry aged beef.
Okay.
Grab some of our dry aged beef, grab some of our sausages, and probably check out a panino too.
Okay, what panino?
So we got 6 classics.
Okay.
And I don't know, fan favorite is the trio. It's like a simple assorted, but like done really well. Meats are always sliced to order. You know, vegetables aren't coming from a bag. We're grabbing boxes of them. We're slicing them like by hand. We're washing it.
Beautiful.
The roast beef's phenomenal. House roast beef, again, dry age. We do it in house. Salt, pepper, hard sear.
That's
medium
sweet,
rare.
man.
Yeah.
So far it sounds like you've been very successful. I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram and stuff, which is awesome. People coming out to support. What do you think's been the biggest challenge thus far for you personally, as a leader, as a new entrepreneur, right? Like what has been the biggest struggle?
The biggest thing, man, it's just balancing, man. I mean, in the first couple of weeks, the first 6 weeks, we were so crazy. Like I was working like 100 hours a week. It was insane. And that was just the struggle of like opening a new business that took off right off the bat, which I was so grateful for. And it was basically putting in all the money back into the business. It was, where do we allocate the money? Like bills are still tight. We're obviously bringing in money, but all the money's going right back to the business.
100%. Yeah.
It's balancing the books. It's putting out payroll. Like it's challenging. We're a small business and like it's hard.
It's 100%. Early on, especially, it's definitely a struggle. I know me and Karm like didn't employ anyone for a long time, right? And it was a slow burn when we first opened up the spot, before we got like kind of hit our stride. And now we're lucky we employ quite a few people, and it's, you know, like you said, there's a lot of logistics there as far as managing payroll, managing supply, right? Making sure all those numbers jive. But that's awesome. So what did you like as far as like hiring goes? How did you go from 4 to 15 so quickly? How did you do that hiring process?
Yeah.
Did you know a lot of people, or?
Well, we knew the first 2 guys that were with us. So off the bat, we had the 4 core team, and they were guys that I knew from college. They were guys that my partner, they had worked for my partner in the past, so they already knew butchery. And once we opened, we had a couple friends come to check it out, and I was like, "Hey, do you want a job?"
Yeah.
And the next day, some of them were there.
That's it,
It was
eh?
like that, and then it was a couple people walking in, couple inquiries, couple of resumes thrown out. Like we had this one dishwasher from Meyer, which is right down the street from us.
Yeah.
He just came in and had a resume, and he was just looking for some work. And now he dishwashes a couple of days a week, and he has been for the past couple of months.
That's it, man. That's awesome. So do you think anything's going to change after, like, obviously we're in the middle of the pandemic right now. Do you have any plans for any sort of changes to the business, like post-pandemic, or as things start to chill, or is the way you're set up now kind of the way it's going to roll?
You know what? No, we're always changing. Like even from day one to now, we're so different with logistics. Like I didn't have any butcher shop experience. I didn't know anything about running, let's say, like a deli, but I had the confidence to do so. And we're just learning as we go, and we're still learning. We're only 4 months in with a new business. So we're seeing now after summer, now sales are down. And that was, you know, how do we accommodate that? Okay, we gotta cut this. We gotta like watch our ordering. We gotta cut some payroll. We have to get more sales. We have to do more marketing. So we're starting that now. I think we're definitely going to be changing. We're going to starting some, you know, we're going to launch more charcuterie boxes. We're reaching out to corporate. Christmas is going to be big for gift baskets. So we're just learning, and every day things are changing, and we're improving and try to go a little bit better.
Beautiful. No, I think that's the attitude to have, especially early on. Like just be a sponge and just be adaptable.
Just a learning process.
Do you have like, do you have grandiose ambitions for this? Like I know you're 4 months in, so it might be hard to think about 10 years or 20 years, but do you have like some insane vision of like a chain of these, or do you have an end game idea, or not yet?
I think the end game personally is make this self-sustainable without me.
Yep.
And then I can focus also more on Ben Amino meats and growing that business.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see that product like all over Ontario. I'd love to see it, you know, a little bit in the craft supermarkets, on, you know, every restaurant charcuterie board. So I think I definitely want to grow that business. I think for Norcini, it's got a long way to go. And again, we're still learning. Long-term would be just making that sustainable, having a good supply of like consistent customers, having that, you know, supply of lunch crowd. And I don't know, potentially expanding on that, maybe a different location in another city. But I think the focus is making it sustainable, making it profitable.
Without you right now.
Without me right now.
Yeah.
But right now,
4 months in, man, you're good.
We're 4 months
you're doing
in,
great.
So we're just learning.
Doing great. So what does your average customer look like right now?
You know what?
Do you have an idea yet? No.
It ranges from high school kids grabbing a sandwich at lunch.
Yeah.
And then it goes to like your middle-aged person getting sausages and steaks for dinner. And then it ranges from older people coming from Nodal that want like a good quality lamb chop or a dry aged ribeye.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, pretty eclectic, right?
We see a full range.
which is good, because at least then you can, because who knows, maybe then those kids are going to tell their parents, like the high school age kids might not be buying a lamb chop, but they're going to send their parents in, right? So, okay. No, that's awesome.
I mean, I think it's harder for us to like directly target market a specific group. Like we'd like to target, let's say, people that will come in and grab steaks, and target people in Nodal and Virgil, because there's nothing really over there. And we're the first shop to the fall. So if they're going to, let's say, Camiso's, like we're before Camiso's there.
Man, do you have some of your dry stuff in the pie plate, or did I? No.
There is, yeah.
Okay,
so there is some Benamino product at the pie plate.
Yes, we do the coffee there. So I was there one day, and
Coffee's
I was like, wait a second. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, okay, that's awesome. No, I'm glad. Yeah. Cause I was going to say, like, if not, I was going to make that connection for you for sure. But yeah. So for like fresh stuff, that's huge. Cause I don't really know anywhere around here that does like high quality, fresh meats, like dry aged and stuff like that. I don't know.
No, we're the only butcher shop for sure in the Falls. In most of Niagara, I would say, is we're the only shop that does full animal sustainable butchery. We only bring in the full animals. The only thing that we don't bring in full is the Japanese Wagyu.
Yeah.
And our grass-fed stuff. Right.
But you carry Wagyu?
We do carry Wagyu.
Holy shit.
So $100 a pound.
Yeah. I was going to say insanely expensive, right?
Yeah. Crazy. But it's more popular than I thought. Like sometimes we'll go through a couple loins a week.
Holy shit.
But we bring it in once about half. We take pre-orders on that.
Understood. Yeah. Because obviously there's like a pretty, I assume, a short shelf life to these types of products.
It's not in a specific customer. Like you don't want to bring in a whole loin and then you don't really have a way to unload it.
Yeah, exactly. Because it costs you a lot, and then it's just sitting there, and
it's a lot of upfront money. So we try to sell like 50% of it as a pre-order, and people have don't mind pre-ordering it, because it's like a special thing. They don't expect to like just go in and grab it, because it's that rare. You can't get that anywhere. No,
exactly. I was gonna say I have to actually try some from you.
You got it.
Challenges. What do you see being a roadblock in the do you see any roadblocks in the future, in the immediate future? Do you look ahead and think like, when we got to overcome this thing, this is going to be a shit show? Do you have anything like that? Any
a couple of things in mind. Like definitely there's some big pieces of equipment that like could break down any second. Knock on wood right now. Knock on wood. And when that happens, like it's going to be shitty. Like right now there's no money to like fix that.
Yeah.
So if that breaks down tomorrow, we're going to be in a bad spot. I think more logistically for the business, we're just kind of early. We're too early. Like I know we're going to definitely have some slow months. Like November could be a slow month. December will pick back up. January is going to be a slow month again. That's usually how it is. So it's about trying to like capture the audience, make our mark, try to like be a household name.
Yeah, build brand.
Yeah.
Which I honestly think you should have a pretty good time doing, because like I said, I don't think there's anyone occupying this kind of space in the region, at least, like this mental space of, like you said, like full animal butchery that's sustainable. Like I think about like, where do people go to get high quality meat? Like Zares, like, you know, it's not even, but it's not even close, man. No, it's not even close. Yeah. Like this is a whole different animal. So if someone was like, if someone came up to you and wanted like an elevator pitch, what's your elevator pitch?
Sustainable whole animal butchery, antibiotic free, hormone free meats, dry aged beef, grass fed options, and custom cuts available.
And you're gonna taste the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. I'm glad.
Taste the difference.
Okay. What if you're buying something to go home from your own place? You're gonna cook it at home. What are you buying? Minus Wagyu.
The dry aged beef, definitely, because you can't get dry aged anywhere.
No
one does it. Man,
Carm drives to like, God knows, Carm drives like 5 hours to get dry aged beef.
Yeah, he loves it. He's on a mission.
Yeah. So he's got I didn't even, did he even ask you about this?
He didn't. I'm surprised he didn't. He just brought up the super sot.
Yeah, I think he still thinks you're just doing dried meat. So I got to tell him you're doing dried. Man, he literally makes a pilgrimage like 4 hours away to pick up from a farm.
Yeah.
Dried beef. Like,
it's so different. It's a quality. If you don't care about quality, you want to get something as cheap as possible, we're probably not the spot for you. But if you care about the quality, the difference, and you enjoy your food and you enjoy having high quality things, you're going to love our shop.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So let's this was really good. What would you tell the younger version of yourself that was thinking about all this stuff? If you could sit down and talk to them now, because now you've made it a lot farther than 99% of people already, and I know you're just on an upward trajectory. So by starting this, by taking this first step, but you got a business, you got employees, you got all these things, you're 24. man, what would you tell, like, I don't know, when you first started thinking about this, about the 18-year-old version of yourself or the 19-year-old version of yourself, what would be the sit down with them?
It's a deep question.
It is. I usually finish all podcast interviews with this question.
Like that one, eh? It would have to be just enjoy the process. Enjoy the process.
That's huge, man. And that's,
I mean, it's kind of cliche.
It is, but you know what? So I was listening to, I'll go off topic for a second here and then we'll wrap it. But I was listening to a neuroscientist the other day talk about kind of dopamine being like the currency of the brain. And pretty much anyone who builds something like large successfully realized that dopamine is in anticipation and like kind of in the work.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you get
100%.
addicted to the work and the progress and those little steps, then of course, when you have that moment, whenever you feel like you have a moment, right, where you reach your goal state, a pinnacle, whatever, yes, there's dopamine release. Yes, you're happy, but then you also like understand that, you know, okay, let's take a minute, let's enjoy it, let's go into gratitude, but then let's keep moving up this mountain, let's keep going, right? So I think that's huge, man. Okay, so Robbie, tell everyone where they can find you, like Instagram, location, all the info, shameless self-promotion, go wild.
Yeah. 3567 Portage Road, Niagara Falls. It's across the street from like Sobeys, Casamia. It's beside CIBC Bank and Angle and Volkers. What used to be the old KFC building.
Beautiful. Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah. So old KFC building there, very close to Meyer and Stanford Plaza are right there. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Google.
And it's just Norcini if we got to find you?
It's Norcini Co.
Norcini Co.
One word.
Beautiful.
Website is in progress. Still working on that. But yeah, leave a review.
Beautiful.
Google. Yeah.
Google review. That's it. Okay, Robbie, thank you so much for taking the time.
Man. Thanks.